The Operation Spycatcher update is finally here and we are going to be able to test it out firsthand. So with regards to this, we have the new Onslaught mode, which we'll be going over very shortly, but we also have the regular mode. Now, if you are someone who is brand new to the game and this is your first ever Operation Spycatcher, you will have to go through and do all 50 of them separately. But once you have actually physically completed Operation Spycatcher just once of each level, you will then be able to unlock the Sweep All mode. And what the Sweep All mode does is it allows you to go through and simply just use your energy instead of having to go through doing one of those each sort of bunkers and ravens at a time. So this is obviously going to be a much more efficient way of doing it. It saves you a lot of time overall. So yeah, this is definitely going to be really nice. Boom, we do it all instantly. We get everything, and of course you earn the rewards on Sunday night at reset into Monday morning at the end of the week. Now, the brand new mode here, which is Onslaught mode, is actually pretty nice. Now, as we know, the original Spycatcher does cost some energy, but this one here, guys, is completely free. Now, it's not the most crazy of rewards unless you are an absolute whale, because there is here, as you can tell, a leaderboard. Now, if you're a leaderboard and you get number 1, you do get 300 museum coupons. The rest for the rest of the leaderboards is, you know, it's free rewards at the end of the day. Now, the way you want to be challenging this challenge here is you do have tactics. You're not actually able to use certain tactics, but anything that increases your power as such is going to work. But there are certain things that aren't available for some reason. I'm not too sure why that is. I guess it's because of the whole damage part. But yeah, anything that increases your firepower or your skill damage works. This one here only does that, so I'm not too sure why it's banned. But with the way this works, guys, is honestly, I've done a few different testings now. It seems to me that if you have a 9.1 tanking unit, normally it can survive the whole thing. But we're going to go through right now and I'm going to show you. But basically, you have 5 chances to beat it. It doesn't cost any reserves. And as I mentioned here, guys, every 5 of levels you go through, you will obtain some form of reward. Now, you'll be able to see here in this first attack I do, just sort of the rewards you're going to get. With that being said, whatever your current setup is the setup you take in. So for example here, as you can tell, my setup is my offensive setup, and it is also set obviously with the units I have, the wrenches I'm using, and so on. Now, of course, if I had 9.2 units, I'm actually going to deal more damage output. But again, I'm currently in an L4. My units are in a rally. I'm not able to actually use my units in a different way at this moment in time. But you do have 5 chances. So, of course, you could always make a preset of potentially having a 9.2 setup, or, you know, a maxed unit for your personal capability, so that you have at least one decent tanking unit, and then everything else should be all damaging units. So let's jump in and do the first one. Now, as I mentioned, I'm currently set at 9.1. I can do 9.2s obviously, but we're not going to be doing that. So the way this is going to work for me personally, I'm just going to show you guys kind of how long you would last with a 9.1 unit. So you have 60 seconds, by the way, guys. You have 60 seconds to do the attack, and that is pretty much it. If your units die within that 60 seconds, then, you know, that's how it works. But as you can tell here, we have got the level of the actual place. And what you're going to want to do is when you start this, okay, you're going to want to start with obviously your tanking unit, and then everything else you're just going to want to attack with, automatically attack with afterwards. Now, instantly, these first couple of levels will skyrocket up. But once you hit around level 27, 28, it does take a little bit more time. Now, this yellow bar is the actual base thing here when it does a special attack on your unit. So as you can tell here, my infantry is tanking its normal attacks, but when this special attack comes in, it takes a good chunk out of my infantry. Now, as long as my infantry can last up to, you know, the designated 60 seconds, it should be okay. But as you can tell here, I did manage to end up losing my infantry. Now, we've got 12 seconds left. Unfortunately, it went after my rocket launcher. It would have been nice And it does look like it's now going after one of my Howies. It would have been nice to go onto the ATG, potentially. But as you can see right here, I managed to clear 37 places. Which means I managed to get, because it's every 5 rewards, I got 7 rewards out of it. Because every 5 different levels you go to, you end up getting some rewards from it. So, just by reaching level 35... these are the rewards right here. Again, as I mentioned, guys, it is nothing crazy. But with that being said, obviously, I can have 5 attempts at this. So, with those 5 attempts, what I could do is potentially make a 9.2 infantry. Then I would make a 9.2 Howie, a 9.2, like a second 9.2 Howie. And then I don't think I have enough blueprints to get 2 9.2 Marty units yet, but if that is the case, then obviously I would then make another one. Obviously ATGs aren't crazy at attacking fortifications because that bunker is classed as a fortification. You are better off using Howies or rocket launchers as opposed to using an ATG. ATG is purely a unit killer, it's not a base killer. So that's going to be your most best way. And as I mentioned, guys, if you come to here, you can see that you have 4 chances. So potentially the other thing I could do during this, let's see if there's, I might be able to hit maybe 37. Buffs do work in this, by the way, guys, but it's very similar to campaign, where if you're using a buff, the buff has to be physically active. Let's just say I've had a buff on, I've got my units buffed up, but the buff has run out, but my units are still at increased power. It won't count in here. They will be at the original normal power. So the only other thing I can potentially try now is using a defense buff here. So I'm actually going to use this defensive tactic on my unit. You do have to start it first. So here we go. I'm going to use my defensive tactic on here. Let's quickly activate that now. There it is. So I've got the hybrid armor on. I don't know if it's going to change, if I'm actually going to be able to physically get any higher, but we never know. Maybe that defense tactic will in fact help. Now I'm already at level 28, which is I think it was a little bit quicker than the previous one. I'm not 100% sure. But let's have a look here if I'm going to be able to beat... I was 37 last time. If we can get to potentially 38. And it is also random on what... When my infantry does eventually die, which it looks like it is going to still die, I'm hoping it switches to my ATG, because at that point I can then enter it into anti-aircraft mode and it might survive a little bit more, but it is unlikely. So again, it's pure luck to see what this switches over to. My infantry done really well there. It has gone on to my rocket launcher again, which is unfortunate. I managed to hit 38, but I'm not going to manage to reach... Oh, we hit 39, I believe. So it says here, you received the first crate. So you get a little... I think you might actually get a little bit of rewards. Yeah, so you get one of these little rewards. Again, I thought it was every 5, if I'm honest with you. It did say in the Onslaught mode things that it was every 5 levels. Yeah, it says here, the first time you defeat each level of the Raven Bastion. Okay, so it's every time you reach each level, my bad. And then for every 5 new levels you clear, you'll receive rewards. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. But we managed to hit 38, and I saw 39 pop up, but I think it technically was just over before that, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, with that being said, guys, as I mentioned, that is going to be your best way around it, is by purely having some form of strong sort of defense. If you can get 9.2, it's going to be preferable if you want to reach that level 40 and further. But I'm not too sure if in here, like you can see here, I done 16 billion damage. Okay, I done 16 billion. I know it's not that much, obviously, in comparison to a lot of these other people, but considering I know Cookie Monster's a very strong person and he has 20 mil. But yeah, these guys here must be reaching upwards to, I don't even know what sort of level that would go to. Maybe like 50. They probably reach like level 50 on the bunker. I'm not 100% sure, but these are obviously all the big whales here. So yeah, definitely give this a try, guys. I really enjoyed it. I think it's nice to have a free little update to it. The best part about this whole Operation Spycatcher is the fact with the regular mode, you can just do the sweep. I don't have to sit there doing 50 of them, because I've got an old account as well. I've got another account that I have, so I got 3 accounts now, and just doing this 150 times took a long time. So just click one click of a button, all done. Amazing. Let me know what you think of this update down below. I appreciate all the love and support, guys, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.